Welcome to the Fractional Practice Podcast. If you are an experienced operator and you are thinking about fractional work or you're already doing the work, this conversation is going to be very useful. My guest today is David King. David is the CEO of CFO Centre based in Australia. He works very closely with CFOs who are leaving corporate roles and moving into fractional leadership. He sees this transition every single day, what people get it wrong, what actually works, and where things breaks down. So in this episode, we talk about positioning, we talk about new client acquisition, we talk about client expectations, and why many capable CFO charge less than they should, and what builds trust and client over long term. So this is a practical conversation based on real operating experience, not theory. So go and listen to this, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome, David. Welcome to the Fractional Practice Podcast. Good to have you here.
Thanks a lot, Jack. Great to be here. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Tell me more about the CFO Centre, David, and what's your role?
Sure. The CFO Centre is 25 years young. It's now a global business, and we do one thing, and we think we do it really well, and that's offer fractional CFOs or chief financial officers to both the SME market, businesses that have had a bit of initial growth but now need the experience of a true CFO from a commercial, financial, strategic perspective, but they don't need one full-time yet. And also those that already have a CFO, but that CFO might need another pair of hands in terms of delivering on certain projects or what it might be. We've been around Australia. We're about 60 CFOs in our team. Globally, we're more like 800, and we do it we love to do it face to face on site where we can. But the hybrid model is very popular these days as well, where we might do some of our work remotely and then actually be on site and really become like a true member of the team to really help the clients, whether that's around the traditional cash flow, profit maximization, funding type issues, and or whether it's more around, sustainable growth, getting clear on strategy, helping them execute that, whether that's around succession, exit, or wanting to do some sort of other sort of major transaction. I've been with the CFO Centre about 12 years now. I'm the CEO locally for Eastern Australia and New Zealand. I started off as a regional director, so all of our teams of CFOs around the country or around the world are led by regional directors that run the team and do the local business development and client care roles. So I started off in a role like that before moving into the CEO role probably, close to 8 years ago.
All right. So there is a big misconception in the industry that, when you're hiring any sort of fractional exec, you probably not going to get a value out of that fractional exec unless they are in your on your payroll. How do you deal with that? What do you say to that? Because CFO is exec is a really responsible for the financials. How do you make sure the end customer or the founder and the CEO kind of understand that before they engage you?
Yeah, it's a good question, Jay. We've done a lot of work and we'll continue to do a lot of work in educating the business community around what fractional actually means. And there are some misconceptions definitely out there that, for instance, as you say, unless you're on my payroll, then I don't have full engagement from you. I don't have full control over you.
Yeah.
They're quite outdated ways of thinking, to be honest. I mean, this is definitely a new way of working. It's an exciting one because it brings skills to your business that you would never have enjoyed otherwise. The way we input it to our potential clients and indeed deliver in the eyes of our current clients is that we recruit our CFOs really carefully, and we're not only CFOs that technically are very sound, but are also very good relationship builders. And we've got a very, very in-depth, very well thought out process that we put our CFOs through in terms of how we win, onboard clients, and then deliver value over the long term with clients. So we see ourselves as a long-term strategic partner of our clients, but we need to keep delivering the value every month, definitely to be there, to be involved. And we certainly train our CFOs carefully on that. And then every client's got 2 points of contact, both the CFO that we put in place, but also the regional director. And then if for any reason that CFO doesn't work out, or it's not the CFO that the client now needs, or indeed they need a second CFO with different skills for a certain period of time, that the regional director can organise that from our team of CFOs. So it's to encourage the client that you're really dealing with a real team-based approach here, and to actually treat your CFO like one of your team. So they've got to change their mindset a bit. Just because this CFO is not there all the time and doesn't happen to be on the payroll, they're very much a part of your team. They will be calling you in between their visits, keeping things moving, being a catalyst for change, being a sounding board, playing devil's advocate where they need to. All that stuff that a CFO in-house does, we're doing for them. So it's just see us as your part-time CFO, and we encourage them to use us accordingly.
Yeah, you probably have worked with, hundreds of CFOs or fractional CFOs by this time. When somebody gets started, like, they have a big corporate badge and, the brand is already there. Whenever they speak to somebody, the credibility is already in the marketplace because they have a big badge, on their business cards. What's the big difference is when they kind of get started on their own and they get into the market, and now there is that the big corporate brand is not behind them. What do you reckon is the big challenge for people when they get started, coming out of that?
Yeah, we've been actually doing some more work with our CFOs on exactly this subject, even those that have been with us for a little while, but especially our new ones. It's around mindset again. Mindset shift is that whilst you might be a very seasoned CFO from your corporate or in-house days, it's to embrace this change as a change in career almost. If you come into it thinking, well, it's just the same, I'm doing the CFO stuff,
Yeah,
I don't really need to develop any new skills or mindset shifts. I think that's where CFOs can come unstuck, because the way that you're working with clients is very different. Like when you're an in-house CFO, you do have your big brand behind you, so you don't have to sort of market yourself, or brand yourself. Secondly, you've got a CEO and a board that are quite often directing the traffic.
that's right.
They know what a CFO is, and they've recruited you with clear expectations of what the role is. But a lot of our clients, they've never used a CFO before. So you've got to show the client the way, how to get the best out of your involvement. Use your initiative, and don't fall into the trap of just doing the work that they wanted you to do to start with, and not positioning yourself strategically for those bigger conversations, because otherwise the client might see you as just a project person who's going to fix something, and then they say goodbye to you, and they've not, because they haven't known what else you've got to offer. So you need to develop your communication skills, your relationship building skills, your confidence. It's a very different way of working, and then you're going to have different clients. So you're going to have multiple clients at some point. So you've got to be able to replicate that across different personalities and different types of organizations. So, yeah, it's really embracing this as a career change and doing the work on yourself. And that comes not just from delivery with clients, but even before that, when it comes to trying to find and win clients as a fractional CFO, it's for a lot of CFOs that could be a bit introverted and
That's right.
do any marketing when they've been in-house. The thought of marketing and selling for them can be quite scary. So again, it's about being willing to stretch your comfort zones, and look at the sort of things that might cause you some fears, and speaking to other people that have been in this industry for longer and what they've learned, and working on yourself. I mean, that's what we offer our CFOs. They're coming into a team so that they can speak to all our existing CFOs about what's their journey been like? What have they learned along the way? What mistakes have they made? because it is a very different way of operating.
Yeah, look, I love to understand when you said a mindset shift. Here is what I think, right? So, I love to understand your thoughts on that as well. What do you think? A couple of pointers. I feel that it's really hard for some people when they are in a corporate world. They're managing a team. They have people behind them. Now they are in the market for themselves, and they kind of are the product now. And because they are the product now, so there would be a couple of changes, a few changes they need to make. What do you think those mindset shift they need to make when that kind of thing happens? Like they are the product now. There is nobody out there who's going to do marketing for them. I mean, in your case, you do it, yes. But how does that work? What do you think they need to start doing? I know you talked about skill set, communication skills, sales and marketing kind of skills. But I'd love to understand, what do you think those mindset shifts are needed in the beginning?
I was given some advice 12, 13 years ago, which has stuck with me. Forget about the S word being selling,
Yeah.
because as a CFO, that can scare you. So don't think of it as selling yourself or selling a product or a service. Think of it as conversations that could lead somewhere. All you're doing is having conversations with people and finding out what they need and letting them know what you do and what you can offer, and establishing if there's a fit. And if the fit is not there, knowing that that's okay.
Yeah.
But taking the pressure off yourself that I have this meeting and I have to sell myself and I need to get this win across the board and everything else. Try and take the end result away and just go into it more relaxed as a result. It's just having a conversation. Because the second thing I'll say is it's just about relationships. If you're afraid to pick up the phone and ring some people from your own black book of contacts that you know from your past lives, maybe consider why are you procrastinating on picking up the phone and calling some people, because it'll be just a fear flag that you've got. And if you can actually get your head around and go, start with someone that you like and that you know quite well, and use it almost as a guinea pig, or as a practice for further conversations. One thing I did in the early days was worked on my own little elevator pitch, not a salesy pitch, but just if someone asks me now, what do I do? You need to be prepared for that, right? And if you've only got 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever it is, it's got to hit the mark. So, I would practice a little bit in front of the mirror or in front of the dog, just to try
That's right.
and then that's sort of, that's been a work in progress for 12 years. I think, those sorts of things, trying to take away anything that causes you sort of fear so that you can stretch your comfort zones a little bit when it comes to picking up the phone, talking to people. And when you're out in front of people, just talking to them in a conversational way. I think that's a great start.
Do you find it hard to justify sometime when you work with the CEOs and founders at SME level, that the difference between accountant and CFO and why they need a CFO?
All the time.
Yeah.
Again, the role of CFO is not completely well known in, say, the SME space.
Yeah, I would say that most of the business is going to say that, hey, I already have an accountant. Why do I
Exactly.
need a CFO?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the quick response to that could be, if you're experiencing pain points or frustrations, or even that feeling of not knowing what you don't know as a business owner, that to me is the sign of the classic story of growing pains, and that the wider finance or accounting function that you've currently got might not be exactly what you need going forward. You might have outgrown it. So if you've already got an external accountant, great. And you still need one, even with our involvement, because we're not there to do your compliance, your
That's right.
tax, your BAS, that type of thing. And that's really important. If you've got nobody on the ground in your business working with you month in, month out, that's really helping you get clear on what the numbers mean, and what that means for your strategy in terms of what you should do more of, less of, or start doing. You got no one that you can really lean on from that perspective as well. That's really helping you drive business improvement and growth.
Yeah.
And that's where you should consider maybe a fractional CFO could be the answer. It might not be all your answers. It might be other things as well in your business, but and it also comes from when you've got an in-house team. You might have a bookkeeper only, or you might have a bookkeeper and even say a financial controller or finance manager. But if you're not getting the information you need when you need it, and you don't understand even what those numbers are telling you, no one's explaining it and making recommendations for you and helping you drive good decision making, that's a really good starting point as to where you might need a fractional CFO. On top of
Yeah.
that, there's things like if you're finding it hard to get funding, whether that's debt or equity or both, that could be because you haven't got the skill sets around you to attract that. If you think cash flow is poor or lumpy, and you don't understand why, because you think business is going well, then no one's really helping you interpret what's going on in your balance sheet, which drives cash flow. All of that sort of stuff is classic growing pain, where it just means that bringing somebody in a different, more senior capacity, not replacing other members of the team. In fact, in letting other members of the team flourish and grow and focus on what they're best at is what it's all about.
Yeah, I've got simple thing. When somebody says to me, because I work with a lot of SMEs at sales leadership capacity, and we have accountants and CFO all the time. And I've heard this from somebody else as well. They said accountants always look at the past, what actually happened, the numbers they put together, and CFOs always look at the future. And I really like that when somebody said that. I was like, okay, that's good. Accountants kind of there to look at what already happened, and they just put the numbers together for that. But CFOs are always for the future.
That's
And,
right.
if you want to make your future better, better have a CFO.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. I think they're both important roles,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think if they're segregated, it's so much more powerful. I've always said, beware the person that says they can be all things to you. I
Yeah,
mean, it's just not the case.
yeah, yeah. What's, because you worked with a lot of CFOs, and you've been doing it for such a long time. If you have to say, when somebody getting started, somebody's already, working and for somebody else or the corporate world, and they want to come into this, what CFO Centre can do for them? What is that value add for the practitioner?
You mean for a CFO that wants?
For the CFO,
Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
few things there. I think the one thing you've just touched on is the whole marketing and sales piece. I think that if a CFO's a bit nervous, a bit unsure about how they're going to go about building a client book, then joining us can really help that, because we've got a marketing machine. We've got regional directors that actually lead the sales discussions with potential clients. We ask our CFOs to be involved in all steps of the way because they've got value to add, but you've got people with the training and experience to drive those functions. The other thing I touched on earlier, which I think is a big reason why they join us, is around the team. That if you're out there on your own, then unless you've got other networks, you haven't got other CFOs to lean on when it comes to issues that pop up that you've not seen before and you don't know how to handle or resolve. Because none of us know everything. So as a CFO, you're limited by your own experience. So when you join our team, we've got a whole lot of different ways that our team communicate and share with each other for everyone's benefit, so they can tap into that community, because as we say, the answer's somewhere in the room.
Somewhere.
I think
How,
the other thing
sorry,
that
go
we
on.
bring is a brand of our own. So, we've got that global presence. We've got that presence and longevity around Australia, which brings comfort to practitioners, to CFOs looking to do this. And it certainly brings some comfort to our clients as well. Having that global reach can be quite appealing to clients wanting to operate offshore.
Yeah. So what's when somebody sort of starts, you mentioned talked about, in marketing and client acquisition. How does that happen in the CFO center? How do you actually acquire your customer?
Yeah, we've got multiple channels that we actively use. We've got what we call central channels, where we've got a central marketing function where we're doing things.
Is that in the house or you hire somebody else?
Well, we've got an in-house team, and then we've got an external digital agency. So we put a lot of work in digital, like driving traffic to our website through content, through a digital strategy. We've also used socials like LinkedIn quite a bit as well to drive awareness and traffic to the website. Then on the ground in each region, the regional director will a big part of their role is developing referral partnerships with like-minded professionals and other walks of life.
Yep.
We call it distribution, which is our process. And the reason that's so important is twofold. First of all, we want to have a team of trusted professionals in our tool belt should a client need those skills along the way, whether that's a tax accountant, a lawyer, insurance broker, a banker, you know, whatever it might be. So we build word of mouth referral partnerships with them and hopefully get two-way referrals between our client base occurring once we've built trust and knowledge in each other. Client referrals, definitely as well. So word of mouth from our happy clients. So we periodically will ask our clients on the back of good feedback, that is, that if they know of any other business owners that could benefit. And then we put on our own events now and again. We attend other people's events as well. So yeah, there's quite a few channels that we actively deploy.
Which channel out of all these mentioned has been, you reckon, the best one so far? Do you have the data for that at all, or
Yeah,
do you
of
kind of
course.
look at it?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we sure do.
Which one you reckon kind of worked the best?
We were just looking at our stats for 2025 calendar year, and digital was our highest performing channel, followed by distribution, which is that sort of two-way referral partnerships.
When you say digital, would that be just LinkedIn outreach kind of way?
In terms of digital,
Yeah, that's right.
LinkedIn's part of it, but it's probably more to do with driving traffic to the website through,
Yeah,
Google AdWords, pay per
just the
click,
advert.
putting
Okay.
good content out there on the airwaves, good content on the website. We actually introduced a brand new website partway through last year. So it's sort of more of that type of work. But as you would know, sometimes a lead will come to us via one channel, but then when you ask the business owner how they first heard about us, it could be a very different channel. And
That's
so
right.
they might have got an email from us, and then they met one of us at an event, and then they did a Google search and we came up, and then that's when they reached out. So sometimes it's the sum of all of those working in unison.
Yeah, yeah. And how does the pricing model work in the CFO center? Is it you work with the CFOs? Is it um, some sort of outcome-based pricing, hourly rates? How does that work?
We have so first of all, our CFOs come in as independent subcontractors. Some of them already have some private clients of their own, which are ring fenced, or some of them come in and they've got board appointments and things like that. Beyond that, we've got a revenue split model in the background. So it's an outcomes based thing. So for every dollar that's invoiced to a client, a fixed percentage goes to the CFO. A fixed percentage goes to the regional director for all the work that they do. The rest stays within the business for marketing, to pay for the in-house staff and support systems that we've got.
Yeah.
We typically work on a retainer with our clients. So once we've done a deep dive with the client, we call it a discovery day.
Yeah, how does that look like? So this is the sales process, right? You're sort of walking through. Like,
Yeah. So
yeah, how does that work?
we'll typically have a couple of meetings with a potential client to really get to the heart of what's going on for them, to ensure that we are the right fit for them, and to present to them how we specifically help with the needs that they've got. Then we'll introduce them to a CFO, having heard because it's not just about the stuff, it's about asking the potential client, okay, from a CFO fit perspective, what sort of person culturally, would work well with you and your organization? And then we go away and come back and introduce them to the best CFO to fit what they need.
Do you, when you sort of submit it to the client, would you submit like their CV, like the bio, or a few of them, and they can pick and choose kind of way?
If they want that, I mean, where we see it working best, to be honest, is when we've actually asked them the right questions about that, and we've got a CFO that we'd like them to meet, or two CFOs. We actually like to go out, if we can, face to face again, back to the client with the CFO or two CFOs, and get the client or the potential client to ask whatever questions they would like of the CFO, have the CFO inform the business owner in terms of their experience and what they've done in the past that might be relevant to them. We find that if we just give them a handful of resumes, it doesn't really bring it to life, and it's very one or two dimensional
One way.
rather than three dimensional.
Yeah, yeah, it's really hard when you kind of taking the CVs by itself. That is, it's just a paper, right? Doesn't actually do much, and some of them don't even read it. They would
That's
rather speak to somebody,
yeah, and
makes
like
their life. So,
what we do is assure them that if the CFO that we put forward, they don't think is the right one now or down the track, it's to speak to us, the regional director, openly about that.
yeah,
And we can swap somebody else in and out. We haven't had to do it that often, but when we've done it very successfully. The other benefit to a client is if for some reason a CFO leaves us down the track or they retire or whatever, then we can actually put a plan in place to introduce another one of our CFOs in and do a really great handover to make it as seamless as possible so the client doesn't lose any traction. So it's a really good, we've got a built-in redundancy, I guess, that if they're looking at a one-man band, like a sole practitioner, if that sole practitioner disappears tomorrow for some reason,
you
you're
don't
sort of
have anybody.
left.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes it really hard because there is no continuity after that, right? And that matters the most as well. When somebody starts it for the, first time and they kind of in that space, what do you reckon the few mistakes you have seen people making when or before they come to the CFO center?
Well, the classic mistake, but it's more because it's a challenge. If you're out there trying to have a go at this on your own, and we've got lots of CFOs that had a crack at doing it on their own first, and then they came and joined us, is that you've got to put in all this unpaid effort to start with in terms of building your business, trying to win yourself some clients. Then you
Yeah,
get yourself some clients and you get busy with delivery, and then all your marketing goes
marketing.
away. And if that client disappears, you've got no pipeline because you haven't had the chance or you haven't done any marketing. So you're on this really
Yeah, up and
wild
down. Yeah,
up and down. So, I think it's about being really clear as to what you want from this, what you want out of life, what are your drivers at this stage of your career, and trying to play to your strengths to deliver on that, and
yeah.
getting really clear and speaking to lots of people about their journeys. I think the mistake is some people just jump straight in without having sort of thought all of that out.
Yeah, I agree. I think most people forget whenever you're running any sort of business, doesn't matter what you do, business development is part of that. And if you're not good at it, if you don't know, haven't done it, it's better to learn and or outsource to somebody else rather than trying to learn. I mean, if you're happy to learn, that's cool, but you can understand there is a learning curve, right? As well.
I think the
Yeah.
other mistake some can make is they see themselves as a consultant, which we don't like using that word. You don't
Yes.
see yourself as a consultant. I mean, you just go in there and do a piece of work and then you
And then
disappear.
disappear. Yeah.
Fractional to us is about a longer term
Long term.
relationship and all the great value you can unlock for the client as a result along the way.
Yeah, this is a big thing, right? I think not understanding the terminologies is a big thing. I'm a full-on operating models and understanding these terminology so that you can actually install that structure rather than just trying to consider yourself as something which you may not want because you default into that, right? Because you don't know there is a better way of doing it as well. And most people do that. They just become a consultant or contractors. I did the same thing. Became a consultant because I didn't understand the model behind it and I didn't actually know how to operate it. And I feel that that's where CFO Center adds lots of value because initially when people kind of go, yes, business development is there, but just understanding the way to work,
Yeah,
it's
I
the
think
biggest thing.
concepts like underservicing clients and overservicing clients really
That's
comes
right.
out as well.
Yeah.
And so we really work with our CFOs on both of those. Overservicing is more, probably more widely known where, you're sort of you're loading up the work so you can send in a nice juicy invoice and the poor
Invoice.
client gets this shock,
Yeah.
But underservicing is a problem as well where a CFO has taken on too much, too many clients, and then even subconsciously um, is not giving certain clients the extra that they need at certain points along the way.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, isn't it? Like not understanding the scope and not working. Like I remember my early days. If I hadn't done the work for that week that much, like, even though I just had a half an hour call and had a training done for, 2 hours, I used to feel really, I think embarrassed is the wrong word, but I used to feel really that ick that I don't need to send an invoice. So I felt bad about sending invoices because I didn't work on the outcome. I worked on the hours at the time. And for me, that was a big mindset shift I needed personally that, instead of saying, hey, I'm going to how many hours or how many days I'm available, I need to start talking and owning the outcomes. So even
Totally.
though if I do 2 hours or 1 hour, I own the outcome. Doesn't actually matter how many hours I work.
So true. So
Yeah.
true.
That was for me, it was like eye opening when I sort of changed that model. And now, because when I go to my customers and we work together, this is very kind of clear from day one that instead of trying to feel bad about it, I kind of own that small piece of the business and I say, hey, this is how I do it, and let me be responsible for that part.
And
you
it's,
know
yeah, part of it's like I said earlier, was showing the client how to use
Fractional.
us
Right.
and educating them. And like we've got what we call priority plans, which are rolling 3-month plans that have been agreed with the client along the way as to what the deliverables are and the timeframes for delivery. So everyone's on the same page. So part of that is, that's linked back to then the retainer. And, if they need extra or they want to accelerate things, and we have an open conversation about what that looks like to enable that. So there's no shock, but it's also allows the CFO to have discussions like, look, I'm going on a family holiday next month. I'm going to do extra this month, and then I'm going to do some extra when I'm back. This is what the work plan would look like as a result. Is that okay with you? When I'm not here, please reach out to me, or if I'm not contactable, reach out to the regional director if you need me. Otherwise, the retainer invoice will remain in place as it is, but the work is going to be done, a little bit
That's right.
extra now and a bit. So you're owning the conversation, you're putting them at ease, and the clients love that. It's just about good communication.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's having those conversations, and it sometimes people find it hard to have tough conversations as well.
Totally, totally.
That's part of the role. What's next for the CFO Center?
One thing we're really promoting this year and beyond more than we have is what we call the CFOs CFO offering, where we've always done it, but we've not promoted it. Our bread and butter remains working with SMEs, rule of thumb, maybe turning over somewhere between $5 and $50 million, sometimes smaller and sometimes larger than that. But the CFO's CFO offering is for larger businesses that have an in-house CFO, where that CFO could really do with some peer-to-peer support. Bringing one of our seasoned CFOs in to work with them on specific projects or tasks that the in-house CFO either doesn't have the time to get to, or they don't actually have the skill sets to deliver, and doing it in a way that's no threat to them. We don't want their job. We're just there to do the piece of work to help them look good in front of their boss. And sometimes it can be the classic stuff like helping with an acquisition or a merger. It could be an IT integration or integration or IT purchase, but it could be like coming in and mentoring their YC, having an independent person help that 2IC continue to grow. So and we've been doing all of that sort of stuff along the way, but we just want to promote it more. And it's been really well received because we know when we were in-house corporate CFOs, and I used to be one myself, there's the classic not enough hours in the day, and we're only limited by our own experience as well.
Yeah, and it's really hard to find resourcing as well on such a short notice. And I reckon, it's a big value add. All right, that's really good conversation, David. I really liked your thoughts on the mindset and the sales and marketing and the value add you talked about. It's been a pleasure having you. Loved speaking to you. I think we should do that again in the next few months,
Yeah, love
just to see where you're at. And if people want to reach out, how do they find you?
Yeah, www.cfocentre.com is the website. It's got all the information and on our team as well as on our services and client testimonials. Everything's on there. My personal email address is david.king@cfocentre.com, so they can shoot me a note at any time if they'd like to either learn more or be introduced to one of our local team members, depending on where they're based.
Awesome. That's good. Thank you, David. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much, Jag.